Yeah, he looked good. Damn right he looked good. Against a guy that was there to look good with. That was made to order for Benavidez. Made to order for him. Just like you order a cheeseburger with medium well, with tomatoes, few fried onions, made to order. So I getting back to the fight, he might become the greatest fighter ever, Benavidez. I don't know. But to go nuts right now after beating a guy you're supposed to beat, what do you think the network, you think the promoter, you think the whole management team didn't put him there for him to obviously get this result? They're building up Benavidez. Of course they did. So to get this result with what they had in front of them, a game guy that gets hit with everything, like the old timers would say, gets insulted if you miss him. It's harder to miss Lemieux than it is to hit him. The old timers would say that. So before you go and anoint him the greatest that you've ever seen, calm down a little bit. Now, having said that, like I said long time ago, I said Canelo cannot be called the best in that division. I don't care how many belts he has until he fights Benavidez. I'd like to see. Obviously, Canelo might have to rematch with Bivol. He's the big money maker, Canelo. He's got options on who he can fight. If he doesn't go for the rematch, he could, he could pick a spot wherever he wants to go. When you're the cash cow in a business, you're the golden goose that lays the money eggs, the golden eggs. You can pick who you want to fight. I would love to see Canelo either fight Benavidez. He does the rematch with Bivol. Fine. I don't want to see, just like I said about other fighters on this program, when they get to the point where it's where you just know who's going to win, where it's no longer a challenge. It's no longer really a competition anymore. I don't want to see him fight those fights anymore. I don't want to see Benavidez with these kind of guys. I know how big, I know how strong he is. I want to see him fight other guys. Now, I wouldn't mind them fighting the 42-0 Gilberto Ramirez. People forgot about that guy.
That's a good one.
He's 43-0 actually. Now, he was already super middleweight champ, so we know he could probably come back down. He moved up to light heavyweight, Gilberto Ramirez. So I'd like to see him fight him. Or, as I said, let him fight, if not Canelo, or the winner of Canelo Bivol, if they fight, let him fight the winner of Joe Smith and Benavidez. He's only 25 years old, Benavidez. He can move up to light heavyweight. I just don't want to waste time down into super middleweight. He's cleaned it out.
What about Caleb Plant? What about Caleb Plant or even
Saunders? No, please. Because the same thing, if I could tell you before the fight, him and Saunders were going to get knocked out, which I did, we're going to get knocked out by Canelo, then I could tell you the same thing what's going to happen with Benavidez. They're not strong enough. They're not equipped to be able to deal with a guy of Benavidez's abilities, size, strength, everything that he brings into the ring. It's not competitive. So, like I said, I only want to see the fights that I mentioned. I'll tell you, I will also mention a fight that I think that will probably a lot of people would kind of react to me mentioning this fight. And that would be if they could get Demetrius Andrade. Now, a lot of people are going to be shocked I'm saying this, but I'm going to say things that are going to shock people once in a while because I'm going to go outside the realm and outside the boundaries where he's a middleweight, undefeated middleweight, been undefeated for a long time, champion. He gets very little attention. Doesn't make the huge money his style's boring. His style's not electric. He's undefeated. He was an Olympian, but he knows how to fight. Yes, he's a defensive minded guy in certain ways. He's long, he's tall. He's got the kind of body that could go, the frame, that could go up to super middleweight. And he's always complaining he doesn't get the big fight. So here's a way to get the big fight. For him to fight Benavidez. Now, again, because he's got the frame to go up, I wouldn't say it otherwise. And because his skill level, he's undefeated. Here's what he doesn't bring. He doesn't bring the name's value. Benavidez won't do it because he's not going to make big money with this guy because nobody's clamoring at the gates to see Demetrius Andretti. Nobody's clamoring to get to the window to buy a ticket to see him. I think I explained that properly and fairly, but it would be interesting for the boxing aficionado, for the inside boxing guy that is curious about matchups, to see that he's always complaining about not getting a fight. He could get the big fight, and you could see how good he is. You could find out how good he is, not just how boring he is, but is he good enough with that boring style to be able to frustrate a big, strong Benavidez. Maybe Benavidez could come down to 164. But again, there's no reason for Benavidez and his people to make this, because at the end of the day, they're not going to get rich fighting this guy. Nobody cares. And number two, only the boxing insiders might care. And that's why I bring it up. And it's a lose-lose proposition for Benavidez, because if he beats him, the guy was too small. And if he struggles with him, it looks bad for him. That a little guy, they're going to call him a little guy, took a little bit of the shine off of the guy that is shining right now. That all the fans out there, like I said earlier, are going to be looking to anoint the greatest of all time. And again, it's just not fair to do that until he gets tested, until he's in there with somebody that you can get a real barometer. You're not getting that from Lemieux, who's that easy to hit. I'm sorry.
Hey, news just came in. Canelo said this morning, allegedly, according to Twitter, boxing Twitter, says Canelo's goal right now is to come back down, do the trilogy with Triple G, go back up, avenge the loss with Bivol, and then come back down and defend all the belts. Because I was going to ask you, break down the Benavidez Canelo, but at this point, we're at least a year away from that fight. According to Canelo, and I have nothing to indicate that he's chomping at the bit to get in there with Benavidez. That's like one of those ones that you described earlier. That's all risk. Young guy coming up. If Canelo beats him, I don't think he gets the credit he gets for beating a Bivol or even a Triple G. And if he doesn't beat him or he doesn't look good doing it, they're like, oh, the young guy, this is the new Mexican-American superstar. So I don't think we're getting that anytime soon.
Again, if he wants to consolidate all the belts at 168, it goes through Benavidez at this point. And I said this before it was as easy to say as it is today. I said this months and months and months and months and months ago. He was the guy who represented the most danger to Canelo. Nobody else. Nobody else in that division. And, if Canelo, it's his choice. He's the golden goose. He's got the privilege of picking. He wants to fight Bivol again. I could tell you right now, for me, Bivol wins again, because he's got the style, he's got the goods, mentally, physically, technically, to beat Canelo again. I mean, a lot of people.
He's got the confidence too. Got the confidence that he already handled him pretty easily.
But for me, he beats him again, unless there was a little talk about Bivol going down to 168. I don't think he should do that. He's a light heavyweight. You beat him. You didn't put a gun to Canelo's head to make him go to 175. He had done that before. He beat former champions there before with Kovalev, right? You didn't put a gun to his head. He wanted to go up. He wanted to show his greatness, and I give him credit for that, Canelo. And he went up, and he lost.